Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're just going to have a little look around the plot because a bit has happened, and I just wanted to see what we've been up to, what the plans are, and how far we're actually quite ahead of ourselves for this time of the year, so I'm quite happy with that. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first part of the plot is here. It's been split up into 8 beds, and this section I've still got to sort out. I dug the parsnips out, as you can see, and this has been split up into 8 beds now, just to make it a little easier in watering and everything else. And we've wood chipped the paths, and that's all good, so we can get on with this area. The rhubarb, or the rhubarb, whatever you want to call it, is starting to pick its head up. Now, this is my rhubarb that had giant leaves last year, and I have some up which is a lot better already. So this area, we're going to pull out these wires. We're going to actually rebuild these, but we're going to move them. The old strawberry planter, I've got to dig out. I've taken the strawberries out of it, and what we're going to do with this is put in a load of compost, and we're going to turn this into our asparagus beds, because where they were, they didn't do very well. There was a lot of moisture and some bindweed had climbed into them, so I've dug some of them out, and they'll come down here now as well. This area was where all of the compost bays were, or the bins, the plastic Dalek style bins, so I've ripped all of those out, and we're going to turn all of this area back into growing. So in front of the shed, that is all bulbs in there, and it will do really nice, and the vines are starting to climb, which is good, so we eventually get this covered. The roses have all been pruned, and they will starting to throw buds now, so that's good. We've got some broad beans in, garlic in that bed down there. I still have leeks in this bed and a lot of weed which I've got to address, but I've done nothing about that this year. This potato section is also going to be removed, and that'll be turned back into a growing bed there. So down here, this is where I stored all of the compost that I took out of those 2 bays down there, and the other 3 bays still have about half the height of them of finished compost with just normal stuff dumped on top. But as you can see, this stuff is absolutely beautiful. I've been digging it out and putting it into the tunnel to get those beds sorted. Along here, we've got some peas sown, but look at the ground. Look where, because I was unable to sow green manure last year, look how compacted it is. So we need to do a bit of work on this section here. All this junk down here is stuff that is being stored for compost for me to make a video. Likewise with all of this stuff here, and as you can see under here, we have like all the pond and leaves and stuff like that, all the pond sort of wastes and what have you. Down here you'll see where this is bowing. Look where there's finished compost. So, but in the top of it, we've got stuff just sitting here waiting to be composted. This will be the start or the base of a new compost. I've just been dumping stuff here. I'll take out the bark chip that's on the top there. We'll just leave the cuttings, and that'll be a good layer to start that compost pile off, and then we'll build the pile. And as you can see, this is all the waste weeds and old chilies and stuff that that we'll need to use to go in there. This one here, till about halfway down, is stuff we just dumped in, and you can already look at the worms. Look at that. And all this is, here's another worm there. Look at them. They are absolutely, look at this. just to show you just how good this is. Worms everywhere. But this is just stuff that was dumped on top and it's already started breaking down. Look at that. Worms are absolutely everywhere in here. But as you get down into this, right the way down there is finished composting it. Now, some people have said about slugs in the compost. And as you can see here, these are 2 baby leopard slugs. Now, they are good in the fact that they eat other slugs. But there are other slugs in here as well. And I'm not worried about that because the slugs will only eat decomposing matter, so or decaying matter, so they tend to sort of migrate out of the compost when it's finished, and we don't tend to have that problem. Okay, going up this section, so we've got 3 cherry trees. These beds are already sort of cleared off and they're ready to go. We've got the polytunnel door in finally, and there's a little gap up there that I need to fill with plastic. Now, if you remember, I put that beam in the wrong height and I was unable to stretch the plastic down, so Northern Polytunnels have sent me a new beam and allowed me to put that door in there. So this time we're going to go up here. So as you can see, all the way over there is where our plot starts, and it actually finishes over there, but we'll talk about that now as we go. So this is the fruit area, and I took down a ton of scaffolding off this area, and there will be a video on it, and Danny came over to help me get this cage up. Now, it was loads of scaffolding like this, but it had all bars across the top and all sorts. But Danny's helped me get this cage up, and Danny's from the Grapevine Allotment, and if you haven't seen his channel already, go over and have a look because it's he's a great guy and he'll be well worth it. I've come along and put in the doors with the help of Tina, and so it's now ready for netting, but we've just not had the weather to do it. The ground is still being used as a storage area in between the plants as well at the moment. And so this section here is the cold frames. We'll talk more about that later, but I just want to show you from this point. I have started. We've got the first top shelf in. I've just got to get the shelf down the bottom down there sorted out. So this wall will all be sealed off because we're taking this one down. We're getting rid of this door and window. It'll be a solid wall in here, and we're going to put a door in on the other side. I'm storing all of these all these stones here at the moment. These are what I dug out from the base when I was building those cold frames there when we took the shed down, and they're good usable stones, so we're going to keep those. So I'm just storing them there at the moment, likewise with some slabs and things. But this is all the fruit. It's all doing really well. This whole plot is fruit, and another door here, so we've got 2 entrances into the cage. Now this cage came from Northern Polytunnels, and there will be a video on it. Now this cage should have gone right away to the back of the garden there, but because of the height of the trees, I decided not to take it, and I'm not worried about the birds with the fruit on these trees because they're not going to touch it. I'm more concerned over all the soft fruit that's all the way down that plot down there. So up here we have some other rhubarb, and that's giving us an early, I think that's Timperley early, and it's going to give us a harvest there. So this area, as you can see, I'm storing stuff all along here, and this is, I'll make do with what I've got, and we'll get rid of everything else. Now the blue barrels I'm going to offer to another person up here. This is out of the cage at the moment because I've been scrubbing the inside of it, as it had this green algae in, not an algae, it's like a little water leaf that was growing inside it, and that's how I ended up with it in my pond. So that's been all taken apart. I and I'm in the middle of scrubbing the inside of that out, because that is going to become the water supply for our poultry, which will be going right along here. So I've got a big cage which I'm yet to build, and that's where it's going to go. This area then across here right the way up to the other rain barrels that you've seen in other videos will all be dug over to get the bindweed that's in there out of it, because we had some bindweed that was we had some manure that was packed with bindweed and we didn't notice it when we put it on. So what's going to happen along here is all this will be dug, and then we're going to bring areas up here where this will grow our potatoes. They'll be shielded on 3 sides, which will be a good thing, and we're going to support them slightly different to the wire, and but we'll talk about more about that later. So let's just come back down by here a moment. This area has all been bark chipped now, so it's looking all tidy, so a good path in front of it, and I've got a good path behind it where the storage is. So again, these shelves are really handy. I can store stuff out of the way, it's not unsightly, and it's job done. So these are some of the posts that I've pulled out of the fruit garden. They will go back in once all the netting is up. Let's go and have a look at the pond. So the pond is looking really good at the moment. There's that little green floating stuff I was telling you about. So that tank was full of it, and it can take over the whole surface of this pond. So I'm scooping it out, and that's what you're seeing in the compost bays at the moment. But I saw a couple of frogs and some fish swimming around here. In fact, you may see just over there is a fish. You might just see the red colouring of it, but and there's a couple down there, look. But yeah, this pond is coming on leaps and bounds. This hole here, well, this is waiting for my kids to come up, because last night one of their budgies died, and we're going to bury the budgie here in a little while, and then they're able to come up and you know, and see it. We're going to put a little plaque there for them around the pond, so the budgie's got somewhere nice to stay. But so this is the pond area, and like I said, it is starting to look nice. Incidentally, these are the mushroom logs are still here, and we'll be trying to get them to fruit very shortly. We have had one lot of fruit off them, but we'll have a look what else we can get. All right, so walking down here, this tree has like trebled in size in the last, look at the size on it, it's huge. It's about 75 feet tall, and it's trebled in size in the last couple of years. But look at what it does to the polytunnel. So I've got to get some way of cleaning that. Now normally we tie like a blanket or a towel to a couple of ropes and drag it over, but this year for some reason this algae has gone absolutely nuts, so I'm gonna have to find another way of doing that. The walls are clean, so that's not a problem. Okay, so remember with this shed, now we said that on the other side we're going to put a complete wall in. Well, what we're going to do here is put a new wall and a doorway into the shed in this area. So this is the other side of the cold frame, so you can see there's going to be huge amounts of space in these cold frames to store plants and harden them off. This area needs a good wash down. All right, it's got a lot of algae at the moment because I took the guttering off here for some work I need to be doing once we get some dry weather. For those of you who haven't seen how this watering system works, I'll put a link in the description below. So in here at the moment, so this bed is all prepped, and we're already growing some spring onions and some radish in it. These were sown into cells and they've just been potted on, planted out ready. Along here I've got some herbs for a new herb garden that's going to be created later on this year, and we've sown and potted on a load of stuff. So we've got a load of brassicas here, we've got lettuce, which are all up doing well. We've got some pak choi and kohlrabi, we've got some collie here, cabbage here, we have some dill, boltardi, beetroot coming up. As you can see, the the potting table is a bit of a mess at the moment, but you know, it's a busy time of year for this stuff. So we've got a lot of chives and things sown, turnips, onions, and obviously the strawberries. The peach tree is busting with flowers again, so I will be hand pollinating this again, and I use this little brush for this tree. So it's just a little kid's brush, and the reason, and all I'm doing is I'm literally just tickling the stamen and the pollen. Don't worry if the petals fall off, because that's all you need to do. Now, last year we had absolutely tons of peaches on this tree, so I need to go around and do the whole tree for that. In here, so we've got all the spuds chitting along there. All my tomatoes are at home, but yesterday I did sow a load of cucumbers, and they will eventually be taken home for the warmer area. It is warm in here, but I've got a big grow tent set up at home, and I'm going to be doing that. Down here we've got a load of flowers, some calendula, chrysanthemums, cosmos, marigold, asters, nasturtiums. So there's loads of flowers and stuff here. Our leek are there, and what are these? Sweet peas, both of them. We've got sweet pea already up. I had a really bad germination of the second round of broad beans. The first are already in the ground out, so we need to sow them again. We've got some Aquilegia and Nigella there. We've got some Elsa Craig onions coming up here. Some dahlias sown in there, and we've got some rose cuttings and things along there. And we've got a couple of dahlia tubers up here that we are going to take cuttings from, but the ones we put out last year are still out. We haven't done anything with those. So like I said, all this bed is all sorted. The figs are actually, I thought I'd lost this fig, but it's coming back. These are the figs that were outside until last year, and I put them in here last winter just gone. And as you can see, you know, they are budding up really well. And in a couple of places, there's even some small figs like here. So we may even get a couple of figs this year for the first time ever. We wait and see. The apricot tree is just starting to come into flower as well. So I gave this a hard prune this year. So we'll see how that goes. And again, we're back now to here. So that's this tunnel, and we are getting ready for all the work that needs to go there. So this area is just all stored containers at the moment. The mint is starting to come back up. You know, we've got loads of bits and bobs and wallflowers and stuff. So all of these containers, they've been moved away from the area there where I was screwing in all of those beams, moving the glass around. The daffs are all up already, and the tulips are just starting to poke through in that one, and they're well up in this one, so I must have planted them a bit deeper in that one, but that's good. So we'll have plenty of colour coming through in these beds. The water tanks are all connected, and I've got to just now tap into the pipe work in order to run the drip irrigation in this tunnel. And I've been in here now and cleaned out all the stones we saw up in the fruit area earlier on. Were all dumped here. So what I've been doing here is I've got down just a fine layer of manure on there, and on this bed I actually cut up all of the old containers. So over there you'll see where all the chilies were sown in those black buckets there. All of that soil, the plants were taken out and all of that soil was thrown on here, and then we put about 6 wheelbarrows of my compost on here, and then that was raked out. So the bed itself was clear anyway, but now that's giving this bed a really good layer. This door here is the one I picked up the other day, and that is going to be in for that new shed when I build a new wall, so that's why that's in here at the moment. The manure, it does smell, but it's down, it's ready, so all I got to do now is bring in a few wheelbarrows of my compost and this bed will be ready as well, and that will make a big difference. So the bananas are still here, they're still in those buckets like that, but they sunk in the ground just to protect that rhizome, so that as the pseudo stem, I'm hoping I can keep them, but if not it will come up again through them. But they're wrapped, they're under cover, so they should be okay. The gunneras are both coming up again, so this one is flying. So we're going to place these up around where the pond and the poultry will be, so we'll have some really big shade areas up there as well, and they'll be good up there. And that's what those 3 sleepers that are out there are going to be for, because they're going to create the bed. So those 3 sleepers there, we're going to create the bed out of those. We're going to dig down, we're going to put like a liner in it with a few holes just to drain it, but it will hold water, so it'll become more of a bog garden, and the gunner are going to love that. So they're going in there this year, and hopefully they will do well. So really that's all it is as far as the garden goes. We've still got all of our lavender all down the side down here. I've got a couple of marrows and things there that I need to get rid of, and I've got to get some work done over there, but other than that we are sorted. That's it guys, that's the walk around the plot and what we got planned. We've still got some big jobs to do, but we've done some huge ones, like this water system behind me here. You know, that was a huge job, but that's going to save so much time over the next couple of months now as things really kick off growing. You know, we're going to be able to put in drip irrigation, and we've got plenty of water. As you can see, they're all nearly full again because it hasn't stopped raining here. So that's really it from the plot, what we've got planned and everything else. But as you can see, we're pretty much done across all 3 of the plots here, and we're pretty much ready. So if you've enjoyed this video guys, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget, if you want to see how we sorted out these water containers, well, you can view that right here. I'm Tony O'Neill, this is Simplified Gardening. Remember folks, you reap what you sow, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.